Greetings from the great state of California, the belly of the beast, behind enemy lines, however you want to put it. I wanted to come here today, and it's the funniest thing, and I've been speaking at these things now. I think this is my fourth time, and I keep telling you guys what happens in California does not stay in California. And I've had a chance to spend some time in D.C. As legislators, as congressmen and senators are talking about this thing where they need to do something. There's like this need, we've got to do something. Even people who agree with us are feeling like, well, we have to do something. When I meet with their staff, I'm hearing a lot of familiar things that I've heard before, things that I've heard, quite frankly, in the state of California. For example, red flag laws. How many of you have heard of red flag laws? That's pretty much the response that I expected. When 2014, we enacted red flag laws in the state of California because we had to do something. Now, mind you that something didn't really do anything because we still had the Tehama County mass shooting. We still had the Gilroy mass shooting. We still had the Borderline mass shooting. We still had the Poway, the synagogue mass shooting. So the something that we did clearly didn't work. The something that we needed to do clearly didn't work. So now, once again, the answer, instead of saying, well, what you did didn't work, the answer is, well, we need to do more of what we just did. I know, I hear you. So one of the things that's happened now in the state of California is now because obviously California wants to be the leader in stupid ideas. Our state legislature said, no, we need to expand these things. We need to make it so that anyone that you work with ought to be able to get, we call them in California, gun violence restraining orders. You guys might know them as extreme risk protection orders. We probably all recognize them as BS. But they said, anybody you work with. Now, in testifying before the legislature, my response was, well, okay, so the California legislature has over 2,000 employees. Any one of them, whether they know you or not, can now go to a judge and have your fundamental right to keep and bear arms taken away, and can basically have a SWAT team show up at your house. And, legislators always get mad because they're not necessarily going to send a SWAT team. I'm like, let's put it this way. Armed law enforcement officers are going to show up, and they're not going to be bringing candy and flowers. Because in California, they also issue what they call gun seizure warrants, which allows them to search your home, your business, any place where they believe you might have a gun. So they want to expand it to anybody that you work with. They want to expand it to anyone that you may have been an instructor at a school you went to up to 6 months ago, which, by the way, raises the question, if this is an extreme risk, if this is immediate, why does someone who hasn't seen you for 6 months get a chance to take away your fundamental right to keep and bear arms? But I digress. So this is how they want to expand it. They also want to expand it in a way in which it says right now it's limited to 1 year. They want to expand it to up to 5 years. Now, I get it. You guys are like, well, why are you telling me this? I'm telling you this because what starts in California what happens in California does not stay in California. Extreme risk protection orders, red flag laws are just one example. Gun rationing is another. The idea that saying there's legislation that says you can only buy one handgun a month. Now, already in California, one long gun a month. In California, you can already only purchase one handgun a month. Now, this is akin to rationing of civil rights. It's like saying you can only go to church once a month. You can only read one book a month. Right? It's like saying you can only write your congressman once a month. Now, you guys are saying this is insane. But guess what? There's federal legislation introduced that does the exact same thing. We also have what we call in California what we call ghost gun registration. This is something that's targeted at home builds. The idea that when you decide you want to build a firearm at home, create a firearm at home, they want to require you to serialize it. Now, if you're like me, you understand how dumb an idea this is. Because if I'm a criminal and I'm deciding I'm going to go out and commit a crime, now I'm going to manufacture this gun. I'm going to build a gun. I'm going to put all of the things on it that make it assaulty. Right? I'm going to make it all assaulty and stuff. I'm going to get magazine that holds, 50,000 rounds. Because according to Congress, those things exist. And then I'm going to stop and say, oh, wait, this firearm isn't registered. Let me go to the Department of Justice and get a serial number. Is a stupid idea. Now, I get it, and you get it. But in the end, the thing to understand is, once again, what starts in California does not stay in California. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you this in particular, for those of you who are from freedom-loving states, and unfortunately, while there are people in California that love freedom, California is not necessarily, according to our politicians, a freedom-loving state. I can tell you that these ideas are coming to you. I've met with members of Congress, I've met with members of the Senate, their staff, and I'm telling you right now, they are looking to do something. You need to help them understand that doing something is not going to necessarily solve the problem. And I'll close with this analogy, because I'm feeling the pressure, I'm feeling the heat. But this is the analogy that I use. If my car won't start, I don't say, oh gosh, I should change my tires, because I have to do something. I'll leave it with that. You guys, thank you so much.
If you like our videos, follow, subscribe, like, and share.